Hey guys. So the first thing I want to tell you is that I'm sad. I am sad that we're not together. For like all the other reasons I've been sad we're not together for 5-6 weeks. But the biggest reason right now is because we've come to the end of our Gothic literature unit. It's a fun unit and I think you guys have enjoyed it and there's lots of cool stuff to do with Gothic literature. But we're now at a place where we would normally be going into the Odyssey. And if your friends have complained about the Odyssey, maybe you're like, shoot, I don't have to do that now. I love doing the Odyssey with you guys. We do a lot of fun in-class stuff. We do a lot of games. It's really an enjoyable time, at least as far as I'm concerned. But it's honestly not something I can teach you over a video. It's something we need to do together. To get the most out of it, to enjoy this, to enjoy the epic, we need to be together. God willing, I'll see you guys in a few weeks. If that's the case, we'll pick up the Odyssey then and it'll be awesome and we'll have a ton of fun. If that's not the case, then we'll table it and I'll let your sophomore teachers know that we didn't get to it and that's okay. And we'll do other things. But for right now, we don't have the same unit chunks we've been doing. So I've created a new tab for you on Haiku and it says Learning from Home Week 5. So for the next few weeks, we're going to do a Learning from Home tab each week. And in that week, you're going to have all the information you need. It's also under online learning with the syllabus, okay? But if you go over to the tab that says Learning from Home Week 5, it's going to have your assignments for this week. And I'll update it every day when I post assignments. So it's the assignment for today/tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday. You're going to read The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. If you've read it in middle school before, you're going to be okay. You can read it again. Literally, what else do you have to do? It's a short story, okay? So it starts off and says $1.87. That was all. And 60 cents of it was in pennies. Pennies saved 1 and 2 at a time by bulldozing the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned with the silent imputation of parsimony that such close dealing implied. 3 times Della counted it. $1.87. And the next day would be Christmas. So a little bit of background information for you. The story was written in 1905. It's set in 1905. Okay. $1 is roughly equivalent to $29.33. Okay. So that means that she currently has in her pocket $54.85. And the next day was Christmas. Okay. If she has to get money by begging the butcher to lower his price by 1 penny, by begging her vegetable man to lower his price by 1 penny, by searching and saving and scrimping all year. Are you rolling in the dough? Got lots of cash? No. This gives you a really good indication of what kind of money her household has. And she scrimped and saved all year. Tomorrow is Christmas, and all she has in her pocket is $54. Okay. She lays down on her couch to cry because she's very upset that she doesn't have the money that she hoped she would have, which I'm sure we can all relate to. And she looks around her house, and it's a furnished flat at $8 a week. Okay. So her house, she rents it, and it comes with furniture, and it's $8 a week, so roughly $24 or $32 a month, right? And that winds up being roughly about, including the furniture and everything, about $900 a month. And she lives in a city, and the rent's about all they can afford, okay? It was not exactly, she said basically like it's not a place, she doesn't live in a nice place. She lives in a place where rent is high and everything, including the furniture, it's $900 a month, and which honestly, guys, that's not bad rent for a whole house. Even now, that's not bad rent for a whole house. And on the front door, there's a card that says, Mr. James Dillingham Young. And they got their house at $900 a week when he used to be paid $30 a week. Or sorry, his house is $8 a week, right? And he was making $30 a week when his job was in a really good place. He was getting paid $30 a week, which meant they had a lot of money for rent because it's only $8 a week. So they had a lot of extra cash. However, the economy changed and his income shrunk down to only $20 a week. So now they have a third or their income has been reduced by 1/3. Okay. They had to cut corners. They had to get very, very tight with their money. They had to budget really well because they used to have a lot and they have to worry about it. And they got this nice house and a nice rent. And now they don't have that much. Okay. So they very much have a hard time with money, especially after how much his salary decreased. And when Mr. James Dillingham comes home, he has his new young wife there named Della, who is the girl we've already been talking about, okay? And they're happy. Their marriage is very happy. They just come into financial struggles. And it's Christmas. And sorry, my cat's trying to scratch furniture. Cut that out, Micah. Cats. And if you have a new spouse, since you've only been together for a couple Christmases, you want to buy them something nice. And she has $54, which to do that, it's hard to find a really nice gift for $50. And she wants to buy him something really nice because she loves him and wants to show him that. So she finishes crying. She looks out in her backyard and she's like, I don't know what to do. I've been saving for months and I only have this $1.87 in my pocket. And she's sad because she wants to have a great present for Jim because he makes her very happy, and she really wanted to give him a nice present. She's been saving money for so long. She just hoped she would have more, and she doesn't. And she realizes something. She walks over to the mirror, and she gets really excited and takes her hair down out of its bun, and she has beautiful hair. It says, now there were 2 possessions that the James Dillingham Youngs, which they both took a mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Della's hair. Had the Queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her hair hang out the window someday to dry just to appreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Had King Solomon been the janitor, with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. They have 2 really nice things. The Queen of Sheba, known for her beauty and her jewels, would be jealous of Della's hair. It is long and beautiful and thick, and it's like ripples. It's just beautiful, beautiful hair. And if you didn't have beautiful, beautiful hair, if your hair is thin or it's like you don't like the color or the shape or whatever, it doesn't grow very well, you're jealous of people who have great hair. And her hair is so great that queens would be jealous of it. And the pocket watch that Jim has from his father, and that was his grandfather's first, is a really fancy pocket watch. It's so nice, and he's very, very proud of this heirloom that he has. And he says that kings would be jealous of this beautiful watch that he owns. So Della stands there and looks at her hair that she just took down out of its bun, and it goes to her knees. And it's long and it's beautiful. And she stares at herself in the mirror for a while. And she puts her hair back up and starts to cry. And then she throws on her coat and her hat, and she leaves the house. And she goes to a hair goods store. Basically, in the early 1900s, people wanted to have beautiful hair. If they didn't, there wasn't like extensions, didn't look good. They didn't have stuff like that in the same way. But people would sell their hair to make wigs. And if you were a wealthy woman who didn't have nice hair but wanted it, you would buy a human hair wig, and it would look real and it would be beautiful on you. And so if you had really nice hair, it was very, very popular, and you could easily sell it for some cash. So she decided she's going to sell her hair. And she takes her hat off, walks in the shop, and says, will you buy my hair? And the woman says, I'll give you $20 for that hair. Which, remember, that's more than her husband, that's what her husband makes in a week. That's some good money for their family. So she says, okay. And she cuts her hair very short and gives the lady her hair, and she gets $20 next. And she takes the $20 and the $1.87 she had before, and she goes to search for a present for her husband because she finally has the cash she was hoping she could have to buy him a really nice present. And she goes through like 4 or 5 different stores, and finally she finds what she thinks is perfect for him. Okay? She finds a perfect watch chain to match his beautiful watch, because the watch is beautiful, but the chain is not. And she finds a very valuable, beautiful chain. and she is just so excited because this will look perfect with his watch. So she takes it, and it's $21. So she only has 87 cents left to her name, but she spends almost every penny she has to buy him this gift because she's so excited about it, and it makes her so happy. So she takes it, and she goes home, and she's very excited. But then she realizes that her hair doesn't look good anymore. She kind of freaks out. So when she gets home, she fixes her hair up. She curls it. She wants it to look nice because it's not as pretty as it was when it was super long. It's just shorter. And honestly, if someone's cutting your hair, even happens today, if you're getting your hair cut for like to donate to Locks of Love or to make a wig, and they don't cut it pretty, they just chop it off. You have to pay extra for a separate haircut. And she wasn't trying to do that because, she wanted to use it money to buy a gift for her husband. So, she makes her hair look nice, and she's cute, and she's afraid he won't like it, but she's so excited to give him his gift. And when he gets home, she gets really excited, and she's nervous he won't find her pretty anymore. And when he opens the door, and they're young. They're 21 and 20, or 20 and 22. They're very young. And when he opens the door, he looks at her. He's not angry or surprised or disapproving or upset, which she was afraid he was. He just looks at her. And she goes and she was like, "Hi, honey. Don't worry. I cut off my hair and I sold it because I wanted to make sure you have a good present. But I promise it'll grow. If you don't hate it, it'll grow fast, I promise. But I want to have a beautiful present for you, and I'm so excited about it. Like, say something." And he says, You cut your hair?" And she's like, "Yeah, I cut it and I sold it, like I just said. So, like, are you okay? Like, do you still like me?" He just looks around and he's like, "So your hair's gone?" And she's like, "Yeah, I cut it. I sold it. It's Christmas Eve. I wanted to buy you a present, so I did. But, like, I know my hair is really important, but I love you more than I love my hair, so I was willing to sacrifice my hair to buy you a gift." And then he thinks that's really sweet, and he hugs her. And he's happy with his wife because it's sweet of her to do that for him, right? And he gives her a present. And he was like, "I don't care what your hair looks like. It doesn't matter to me in the slightest. You could shave your head completely and I'd still love you. Don't think that I don't love you because of your hair, but I want you to open your present for me so you can understand why I was so surprised." So she opens up her present, and there's this set of beautiful, ornate combs. So it was very popular to take like a comb that had like pretty decoration on it and use it to pull back your hair. If you had really long hair, it was kind of like a barrette almost, but like way fancier. And she had been looking at a set of combs in a store for a year. Like, she was so excited about it, and they were just beautiful. They were expensive. And she was like, "Oh, he bought me a gift for my hair, and I cut it." And she says, "Don't worry. My hair is going to grow back, but I love them. They're so beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited." And she was like, "Oh," and she gives him his present and hands him the watch chain. She's like, "Isn't it beautiful? I hunted to find it. Let's put on your watch. Let's see." And he sits on the couch and starts to laugh. And he says, "Dell, let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. They're too nice to just use as a present. I sold my watch to get the money for the combs for your hair." Because he was willing to give up his most prized possession for his wife as well. And it says, "The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men who brought gifts to the babe in the manger." So if you are unfamiliar with any of the Christian story, when baby Jesus was born, 3 wise men called Magi came to his cradle and came to the place where he was born, and they gave him gifts. Now, normally if someone brings a baby a gift, what do they bring at a baby shower? Diapers, pacifiers, toys, clothes, stuff for the mom to like take care of the baby, right? Like things that babies will use. Well, these men brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold, as you know, is very valuable, but not exactly a baby toy. Okay. Frankincense is a perfume that is used to anoint people. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't put perfume on babies, and most people don't do that either. So it's also kind of a weird gift to give to a baby. And the last thing was myrrh. And myrrh is an embalming fluid. That's what they use when you're dead. That would kind of be like going to a baby shower and bringing a child-sized coffin and being like, got you a present. Those seem like weird gifts, right? Like, why would these kings who had so much money bring this new mom stuff for a dead kid, gold, and perfume? It doesn't make any sense. But that's where we get the tradition of giving Christmas presents. It came from the idea that the wise men brought gifts to baby Jesus. And they also realized that they are wise men. Gold is valuable. Frankincense is valuable, but those are gifts you give to a king. When a king is born, they get beautiful gifts, and they're not necessarily practical for a baby, but they're practical for a royal household. They're considered gifts of honor. So with the Magi showing up to this baby shower, essentially, and giving these weird gifts, they were acknowledging the honor, and they were calling Jesus a king. Which, if you don't know anything about this story, it's really interesting just from the historical perspective, because the wise men found out about Jesus' birth by seeing a star in the sky that showed up. There's a prophecy about a star, so they went to follow the star. And there's just a baby there. Doesn't have royal blood. He wasn't born to a king and a queen. But these men, these kings, acknowledge that this man was going to be important. And these gifts are given to someone who is important. So while they're impractical gifts for a baby, they're acknowledging that he is an important man and he's going to be important and matter a lot. And even if you don't believe in Christianity that like Jesus is a savior, he's a very important man in history. There's tons and tons of historical documentation that he actually existed. There's no question that he's a real person. So he was at the very least a very big historical figure and was important to the course of history. So while those gifts seemed impractical, they were wise and they showed how much they valued baby Jesus. And while this young couple didn't make practical choices to give a gift, you don't sell your most prized possession. You don't sell the only valuable thing you have. You don't sell hair you've worked years to grow. But they were willing to sacrifice what meant the most to them to make someone else feel good, because it showed how much they love each other and their devotion to each other. So that's why it's called the gift of the Magi. Because while it's not a gift that necessarily makes sense, it's not a gift that necessarily shows a relevance for a hardworking man or a young wife who they needed other things in their household. They weren't doing well with money. There was no reason to get extravagant gifts. But it showed how much they cared about each other and what status they held each other in such high esteem. He loves and cares for his wife, and he values her more than his most prized possession. And saying that to someone is a big deal. You are more valuable to me than everything I own, than the most beautiful, wonderful things that I own. So the story of the gift of the Magi is about giving people gifts that show their worth. Okay? So the vocabulary in this is a little challenging. It's not as hard as some of the other stuff we've read. It's definitely not as hard as Poe. Poe's a little more difficult. But she's got some challenging stuff here. So I want you to read the story, okay? And the assignment is posted below. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. You can shoot me a message on Remind. I will answer it. You can send me an email. I try to check my email after 5 o'clock because I need to have some work separation, but I'll answer my Remind at any time. Okay? Be good. I love you. I miss you.